You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead, and miles and miles from your nice warm bed, well, you just remember what your old pal said. You got a friend in me. That's right. You got a friend in me. Well, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got troubles, well, I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together and we see them through, 'cause you've got a friend in me. That's right. You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too. None of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, girl, as the years go by. Our friendship is never gonna die. You're gonna see that it's our destiny, 'cause you've got a friend in me. That's right. You got a friend in me. Oh yeah. Hello, I am Woody. Keep threatening to write Woody on the bottom of my shoe just to freak the kids out. Good morning, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kyle Shiver. I'm the music director here at Unity of Savannah. I'm also a prayer chaplain. And I just want to begin the talk this morning by telling you what a great honor it is to have this opportunity to be invited to speak up here before you. It's a big deal to get asked to stand up in front of somebody's church and give a message. It really is heart to heart. Thank you, Rev Taylor. Spirit Fest. Who was here at Spirit Fest? A lot of people. We had a great day yesterday. It was amazing, and there were people just flowing through here all day. The vendors were busy all day. And when Reverend Dale asked me to speak today, it being the day after Spirit Fest, I said, well, I'm going to talk about community, because that's what we're doing here. We're building a community. And so that's what our talk is going to be about this morning. It's going to be about mentally, physically, and spiritually why we need community and how we need community. Because we need it not only for the heart and for the mind, the body actually needs it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A few years ago, my wife came out to the garage, which is where I spend the majority of my time. It's really bad. Now I can actually watch ESPN on my laptop out there. It's really going to get bad. It being football season and all. Go Dogs! She came out to the garage and she told me about this TED Talk that she had watched by a man named Andrew Solomon. And it sounded really interesting, so I decided to watch it. And it was really great. Andrew traveled around the world, and he would spend time in different cultures and different communities. And what he was doing was he was studying how different people handle stress. And one of the stories that he tells is about being in Rwanda after the genocide there. And he was talking to one of the main tribal leaders in Rwanda about stress, and do you have stress in your community, and how do you deal with stress in your community? And the leader said, well, of course, absolutely, we have stress here. And so he's telling Andrew that after the genocide, there were Western mental health workers. I'm going to read this because I want to quote what Andrew says in his TED Talk. He says, we had a lot of trouble with those Western mental health workers, especially the ones who came right after the genocide. He says they would do this bizarre thing. They didn't take people out in the sunshine where you began to feel better. They didn't include drumming or music to get people's blood going. And they didn't involve the whole community. What they do? They did not externalize the depression as an invasive spirit. Instead, what they did was they took people one at a time into dingy little rooms and had them talk for an hour about bad things that had happened. Leave it to those Westerners. So, the tribal leader says, and I quote, we had to ask them to leave our country. and you know, I'm so happy we have all three of those. We have sunshine. Yesterday we had drumming and we had music, and today we've got our whole community. You know, we've had a lot of all the things that the Rwandan leaders think are good for depression. We've got right here, so we're on a roll. Somebody tells me about 6 years ago, I keep trying to remember how long ago it was I met Swami Ken, but I can't remember how long ago it was. But somebody called me and said, hey, there's going to be a Swami on Whitmarsh Island this Sunday. And I said, a real Swami? Yeah, there's going to be a real Swami. So I went on the website for the Savannah Yoga Room, which is gone now, and I'm reading all about this guy, Swami Ken, and he's coming to the Savannah Yoga Room, and we're going to do a 1-hour meditation, and he studied and meditated for 30 hours a day for 20 years, and all this stuff. There was a very intriguing thing. It said his guru had passed away back in the 90s, but during the meditation, he was going to transmit some sort of blessing from his guru through him into you. So I thought, well, how can I not go to this? Because, you know, if there's going to be a guru on Whitmarsh Island, I'm going to go. So I had never seen a Swami before at this point. So I show up at the Savannah Yoga Room, and the place is packed, and I'm sitting there on my mat, and Swami's down there in his orange robe and the long beard, and you know the people are standing around in white clothes, and it was quite intriguing. And Swami began to speak, and what he said was, the most important thing that is going to happen to you today has already happened. The most important thing that's going to happen to you today has already happened. And I'm sitting there thinking, but I thought you were going to blast me with this spiritual experience from your guru and all this. No, the most important thing has already happened. He said it happened when I decided to come here. Charles Fillmore, one of my favorite Charles Fillmore quotes is, truth cannot be exchanged between mortals. One mortal to another cannot exchange truth. I can't give you God. God has, each individual has their own personal relationship and working relationship with the universe, with God. I can't give it to you. I can't do it. So why do we meet in communities? Because each of us is working on developing that relationship with God. Each one of us is working on it. And we need one another along the way, right? I need to come here and to feel this community that I have, because we're all practicing these truth principles. We're all working on them together, and we're all working towards actually bringing this stuff into our lives. The Buddhists call their community satsang, and I found a really neat definition to satsang online. It says, company with an assembly of persons who listen to, talk about, and assimilate the truth. This typically involves listening to or reading scriptures, reflecting on, discussing, and assimilating their meaning, meditating on the source of these words, and bringing their meaning into one's daily life. And is that not what we do here at Unity? Is that not what we do here?
Yes, we do.
That's what we do. That's what we do. And do we not need one another along the way?
Yes, we do.
Do we not show up here sometimes in the middle of the day, stop sobbing hysterically? I do. We need one another. You know, we need one another along the way. We just do. And I can tell you, standing here right now, in the middle of all of you, I'm at home. You're my people. And no matter where I go to Unity of Greenville, Unity of Tallahassee, Unity of St. John's, no matter where I go, every time I get up there and I'm standing there and I'm home. I'm at home. And you feel at home. I can tell you feel at home. So we're home. It's a beautiful thing. We went to Athens last weekend, Reverend Dale and I, and we joined up with Reverend James King, our buddy from Greenville. And when they were talking to us about the accommodations, we told them that we needed to stay together in the same place. And a lot of times we'll have a house that they'll put us in, or they'll put us in a condo or something. And this time they put us in a suite in a hotel. And I know Dale and I were talking, and we were a little nervous that the place wouldn't be big enough. You know, some of those hotel suites are kind of really sweet. Compact. And it was so funny because when we got to Athens and we got to the room, it was kind of on the small side, and I sat down. We were in this little room there, and we actually had to move things around to close the door and all this other kind of stuff. And I sat down because we had talked about, well, we might need to get an extra room, or we might need to do something, or whatever. And as soon as I sat down with Reverend James and Reverend Dale, it was like, you know, why would I want to be anywhere else? This is perfect. I'm safe here. This is good. You know? And so we had a great weekend. And that's why we come together mentally and spiritually. We come here because it feels good and because we can help each other grow. When I need you, you're here for me. And when you need me, hopefully I can be here for you. You can be here for somebody. Don't come here just when you need it. Come here when you don't need it. And you know, somebody might need you. It's an amazing thought. And I told you I was going to tell you how it affects us physically. In Unity, you know, Unity was started because of actual physical healings. That's what we do, the law of mind action. That's what we work on, healing. And when you decided to come here today, you decided that you were going to heal. That's what you did when you decided to come here today. There's a fellow named Robert Sapolsky out at Stanford University. And several years ago, National Geographic did a documentary called Stress. And it's on Netflix. You can also see it on YouTube. It's called Stress. I highly, highly recommend that you watch this documentary. The whole documentary is fascinating about stress and people. And there's some valuable information in this documentary. towards the end of the documentary, he took a lady and he got her from a therapist. She was really stressed out. She was really frazzled. She had a handicapped child. Okay. Now what Robert does is he takes blood samples and he looks at your blood samples, and you can tell by your blood platelets and the cells in your blood how stressed you are, or how stressed you are. They can just tell by your blood. This lady was seriously stressed out. Handicapped child, round the clock, 24/7. Husband left. She's stressed out of her mind. Really difficult situation. So he takes this lady and he takes her to a support group where there are other mothers who have children who have the same handicap that her child has. And right away, in her blood test, her blood platelets started changing. Right away. Her stress was relieved. She felt better. She felt among her own. If any of you have ever been to a support group or anything, you understand what you feel better. Physically, I'm going to tell you how they watch it. They watch it. Our DNA strands. They look like ladders. Okay, you've all seen the DNA strands that look like ladders. This one is circular, but what you want to look at is you want to look at the yellow caps on the ends of the DNA strands. Those are called telomeres. And when you're stressed out, when you're in a bad spot, those telomeres start coming unraveled and they start eroding. And those telomeres determine the length of your life. So the shorter that they get, the closer you are to making your transition over to the other side. Okay? And when your blood platelets are showing that you have a lot of stress, that's exactly what's happening. Your telomeres start unraveling. So they're doing studies with this particular lady, and she's going to this support group, and before you know it, those ladies, among one another, are telling jokes about handicapped children. And laughing. They can laugh about it. They have a camaraderie between them that they don't have outside of that group. And they're watching, and so studying this lady's blood platelets and her telomeres, what do? They start coming back together. The telomeres actually started forming, and instead of unraveling, they started coming back together and they started growing longer again. So instead of depleting, they started coming together again. And they can actually watch this happen, physically see it happen with all the technology that they have now. So when you come here and you feel that, and you feel that sense of comfort, and you feel that ease, you are growing your telomeres. It is scientifically proven that you're making your life longer. How cool is that? Because when you decided to come here this morning, you decided that you were going to go get some healing. And you know what? All you got to do is show up here and you're going to get it. Right? Because you feel good when you get here. Let's, yay for growing the telomeres. Those of you who are in my class know the power pose. Everybody knew the power pose. We win. Yes. They do they've done studies with people who are blind since birth, and they'll play games with them, and when they win, they immediately throw their hands up. It's a power pose, which is another TED Talk. We'll talk about some other time. But in the meantime, let's take that into prayer. That victory, that celebration, let's take that into prayer. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale and smile. We feel such a deep, deep sense of gratitude for this place, for this building, for all the people who work here and volunteer here, for everybody that comes here, for this satsang, our own personal healing that we have. All we have to do is come here. All we have to do when we get here is be here. It's an opportunity for us to be healed. It's also an opportunity for us to heal others. Just by being here, just by being a part of this community. Such a deep sense of gratitude, knowing that God, this great principle that we can't begin to understand, is expressing through us, as us, never ending, an infinite supply, always with everything that we need. Always with everything we need. We are grateful for our lives. We're grateful for everyone around us and in our lives. We're grateful for all of the abundance and all of the blessings in our lives. We send this prayer, we speak this truth into the ethers, knowing that it is so already. It already is. And we say it is so, and amen.
Sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key.